Now, Kenyans will vote in a general election next year, and a new initiative is encouraging young people to register on the electoral roll. Called Niko Kadi, it means I have my card ready to cast their ballot. Our reporter Felix Maringa met the Niko Kadi team.
Kenya's youth are back on the streets, and each of them has a simple message: I have my card ready. Most of them were part of last year's Gen Z's uprising. They say the protest didn't deliver, but they're still determined to change the way the nation is governed, this time using the voter's card.
I am here because of my future and the future of Kenya. The future of Kenya is in my votes. The future of Kenya is in 2027 in the ballot, and that's why I'm here.
Many youths don't have voters card, and we want people to get voters card to decide in 2027. We want youths to be there. Rather than us being misused, we want to take this leadership.
This is the last chance the young people are giving democracy. If democracy doesn't work next year, we will never believe in democracy again. So it is important that if it is the last time, we need to go full throttle. Kila mtu akue kadi. That's why it's important.
Photojournalist Alan Sademba founded the Niko Kadi initiative. He took part in the 2024 Gen Z protests, which saw demonstrators occupy downtown Nairobi and storm the Kenyan parliament. 65 of them were killed in clashes with police before the government backed down. Ademba says he's determined their sacrifice will echo at the ballot box.
There's revolution by the bullet, and there's the silent revolution. We are just going to cast our vote. In 2024-2025, we lost a lot of young Kenyans who could have actually casted their vote come 2027. And now we don't want to lose more lives. We want to go to the ballot and demonstrate by casting our votes, by voting out the bad leaders that have taken us to the streets and have caused the death of the young fellows.
The prospect of young people massing to the ballot box has shaken top politicians. Kenya's president had this to say.
I also want to say I am ready, and Niko Kadi, if you want that, we have the cards ready.
We are ready for you.
The numbers are stark. Young people under the age of 35 make up to 75% of Kenya's population. But right now, only 6% of Kenya's elected representatives are under 35. It's an injustice that the Niko Kadi organizers want to rectify by registering more young voters. What began as a simple TikTok challenge, registering with your friends and posting it online, has transformed into a nationwide organic push aimed at mobilizing up to 6 million young voters. The organizers are conducting grassroots mobilization to meet this target. Crystal Asige, a nominated senator in the Kenyan parliament, joined the grassroots mobilization drive to get young people to vote. She says the time is now when no one in the society should be left behind.
This is a voter bloc that cannot be ignored, and I think that they're proving that point. And the reason why they should come out in strong numbers is to make the change that they want to see. Young people with disabilities, women, every single demographic needs to be out here in their numbers to do their duty.
Peter Joffrey knows he only has one vote, and he's determined to use it. Niko Kadi and the Gen Z uprising have convinced him to register. The 25-year-old always felt a disconnect from politics in the past, but says he cannot sit on the sidelines anymore.
There are no jobs. I know there are a million people like me, wenye wako jobless. I feel like if you register as a voter, I register as a voter, we are going to collect the numbers and change the game. This is purely personal. I'm not doing this for politics. We want the right leader.
For Peter and Alan Sademba, the message of Niko Kadi is simple. We want to see a change in the governance system. We have our cards.
And Nerima Wako joins me now to talk more about this impressive mobilization by young people in Kenya. She is the executive director of Siasa Place. That's a youth-focused organization based in Nairobi. It's good to see you, Nerima. Your organization was founded in 2015, and the purpose was to encourage young Kenyans to engage in politics. I imagine that you're pleased with the voter registration turnout, but are there plans to do more of this ahead of the 2027 general election?
Absolutely. There's going to be a lot more plans. So, even with the work that we do, we believe in digital tech, civic tech, advocacy, influence, which is what Tuko Kadi is doing at the moment. There is a goal of registering 6.3 million by the electoral management body. However, I truly believe they are going to surpass that. This is the first, mass voter registration drive that is supposed to last 1 month. There's probably going to be another one toward the end of the year because of the interest. And this is something that they also did before the 2022 election. But I believe the results will be much, much better this time around.
Right. And, this mobilization really of young people goes back to 2024, right, when Gen Z Kenyans staged weeks of protest that forced President William Ruto to abandon his finance bill. What is keeping the fire of this youth movement burning?
Well, after the protest, there was promises of change. We saw the dissolution of cabinet, and we thought there was going to be some semblance of listening to the young people, but we saw things go back to normal in a sense, where there was also that huge move of Occupy churches, where politicians couldn't even speak in churches because they were afraid of the people or of being even seen to be too opulent or seen as a corrupt leader. So they seem to have gone back to factory setting. And so what's changed now is, young people were told, no, protest is not the way. When it comes to demanding your views, there's a process. You have representatives. If they don't listen to you, then vote them out. And so this is young people basically saying that, okay, you said an election is coming up. Campaign season has started pretty early. We're going to register and we're going to use the processes that are available. So this is the momentum that's keeping them going. They're showing that, no, we haven't forgotten. No, we don't think that, government has listened to young people, and we will show you through the process and systems that you say we're supposed to use. And so that's what they're doing through institutions and process.
And Nerima, have any inspiring contenders emerged ahead of this election next year, the kind that would appeal to these young voters in Kenya who are so desperate to have their voices heard? You said the campaign season has essentially started.
Yeah, it started so early because we're about a year and a half to August 2027. So we are seeing a lot of fresh faces. I do believe we're going to have a lot of young women. The protest also had a lot of young women in the front lines. We're seeing many of them who weren't involved in politics now speaking up and going for rallies. We're seeing young politicians as well. When I say young, I mean below the age of 45. With campaigns like Linda Mwananchi through Sifuna, who's the current senator of Nairobi, Babu Owino, Caleb Amisi. And we're also seeing women like Crystal Lasige. She's the current women rep or senator here in Nairobi as well. So we are seeing different faces on the front line, and we're going to see much more of that, especially as we get closer to August 2027.
And how much of a catalyst could young voters prove to be if they turn out in strong numbers in the next general election in Kenya?
So statistically, it's interesting. In the last election, we had, over 8 million people register and not vote. And within those numbers, it was mainly millennials. And so even with what the IBC shared, they were saying that most of the people who are currently registering right now are millennials, and Gen Zs, that number is beginning to climb up. So this is a huge swing vote, especially if they do meet their target of 6.3 or even surpass it. This will create a swing vote. And this is a swing vote that normally doesn't engage. and it's new. It's new for the political class, especially the status quo that has been in politics for over 2 decades. They are really going to struggle to be able to entice this new bubble. And I believe it's exciting because that's why we're going to have a lot of fresh voices and faces on the ballot, and probably a number of them are going to get elected. And those who are used to doing politics the same way, remember, this is the first election that we're going to be doing without the Right Honorable Raila Odinga, who made a lot of decisions. And especially when we're talking about the capital in Nairobi, it was mainly his party. You can see his party is also working on succession and what the vision for the party is going to be going into 2027. So as much as there's chaos sometimes, it also brings about opportunity for new.
Well, Nerima, thanks so much for just giving us insight into this mobilization of young people in Kenya into the political space. We appreciate that, Nerima Wako.
Welcome.